Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Referrals Podcast. Do we have a treat in store for you today? Are you kidding? Oh my gosh. I am so excited to share my friend and very successful real estate agent with you today, Mr. Todd Buckley. But before I get to him, I have to ask you, are you ready to knock it out of the park with a program called Spark? What does your customer service program look like? Do you know the lifetime value of your clients? Do you know the lifetime value of your clients? Do you know do you have a short-term kind of mindset when it comes to your customers, or do you have the long-term in mind? All of those questions we're going to answer for you today. How do you help and blow people away that are in your client list? Here's what I'm going to tell you. By the end of this call, by the end of this podcast, by the end of this video, however you're taking this in, you're going to wish you were Todd Buckley's client. I want to be Todd Buckley's client. And if that means I need to buy a house in Michigan, doggone it, I need to make it happen. Because I'm telling you, Spark leaves its mark. It is definitely one of the best things I've ever seen as far as customer service. I can't wait to share it with you today. But before I do that, I need to thank you, the listeners, you, the viewers, for what you've done with Referrals Podcast. You've made us a top 100 podcast. That is crazy. That is amazing. That is off the charts. I mean, Referrals Podcast, real people, real stories, real referrals. You are really referring it, which is amazing. And just, I tell you, from everybody here at ReferCo, everybody here at Referrals Podcast, thank you so much that's nothing on us. We don't do any promotion. We don't have any sponsors, right? It's like, what is it? It's you telling others about Referrals Podcast, sharing the YouTube, sharing the podcast, telling people about it. I was just in Lab Coat Agents the other day, and people were asking about podcasts, and like 20, 30 people were talking about Referrals Podcast. I'm telling you, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for sharing. And here's the thing, right? There's like a responsibility. It's like, oh crap, that means we got to step up our game with Referrals Podcast. We got to keep doing the good stuff. And you know what? That makes me alive. That gives me a challenge worth living up to. And I just want to thank you, listeners and viewers, for making that happen. Thank you so much. And I have a special shout out I've got to give to Wendy Day. Wendy, I'm not sure if you're in Brighton, Michigan or not, but here's the thing is Wendy said, as a realtor, it's easy to get discouraged as you try to talk strangers into trusting you. What an existence. Can you imagine that? And you can spend a lot of money on the latest marketing idea or buying leads. And I have been looking for something different. In a world filled with mass media noise, this book and this podcast, 7L and Referrals Podcast, helps you create not just a profitable living, but also a fulfilling life. It is possible to build your business on authentic relationships and generosity. This book, 7L, and the Referrals Podcast give so many amazing ideas and some step-by-step instructions. I've already started implementing the concepts, and I can't wait to see what happens. Wendy, I can't wait to see what happens. And here's what I want to do. Wendy, I want you to implement what you've heard on the podcast and what you've read in the book. And then I want you to email me at podcast@referco.com. And I want you to share with me what happened. Good, bad, ugly, whatever it may be. And then let's get you, Wendy, on Referrals Podcast. Real people, real stories, real referrals. Listen, it may blow up. You may implement and you may fail. In fact, I guarantee you will fail at some level when you implement, but implement it. And then let's talk about it on Referrals Podcast. Wendy, that is an open invite to you. And you know what, everybody? That's an open invitation to all of you. Implement what Todd says today. put it into your business, and then share with us what you did. And then we'll have you on the podcast to talk about what you learned, who you learned it from, how'd it go, and then what were the results, and then what are you going to do differently in the future to make it work even better for yourself. So that's what we love about the Referrals Podcast. We want to celebrate you. This is not called the Michael Maher Show. This is not called the Michael Maher Podcast. This is called Referrals Podcast. It's about you, real people, real stories, real referrals. 2 quick announcements. Join gengen.com. If you haven't yet, we're inviting you to join the Generosity Generation. That's right, you're invited. It is filtered, so we will check you out. We will ask you a few questions because we want to keep the jerks out, right? You'll find it the most positive, encouraging, and referral-based place on the internet. Join gengen.com, Facebook group for all of you. And then last but not least, 7lbookclub.com. Wouldn't it be cool if Napoleon Hill took you through a book club on Think and Grow Rich? I mean, wouldn't it be cool if Dale Carnegie was around to lead you through a book club on what's the name of his book? Todd, what's the name of Dale Carnegie's book? How to Win Friends and Influence People. Right? There you go. You knew it. I knew you knew it. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Wouldn't it be cool if Dale Carnegie was here to take you through a 4-week class through how to win and give you the nuances and the secrets about like how the book came about and how the characters were named and all the strategies and bring them to life? Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm taking you through 7L. 4 weeks, we are going to do a book club. You are going to read the book. I'm going to explain the nuances. I'm going to share with you secrets in the book that even my wife doesn't know. That's right, 7lbookclub.com, the number 7, letter L, bookclub.com to join us in June. It's going to be the greatest, biggest, most awesome book club ever in the history of book clubs or something like that. Speaking of the best, my friend from Star Power, dude, I am so, I've been waiting to introduce this guy to you forever. This is way, way overdue. Todd Buckley is our guest today. Todd is the broker owner and team leader at the Buckley Jolly Real Estate Team in Brighton, Michigan. Wendy, are you in Brighton, Michigan? He is involved with a number of local and national organizations and is committed to being at the forefront of the changing real estate industry. In business, Todd's priority is quite simple. It's his clients, period. It's people. Accomplishments, honors, and positions include Michigan Realtors Public Policy Chairperson in 2020, Board of Directors for the Livingston County Association of Realtors, LCAR. He was the LCAR Realtor of the freaking Year in 2006 and 2017. Now, here's the thing on that. I have to tell you, nobody is the Realtor of the Year twice. I'm telling you, everybody, Realtor of the Year, you're in the business 25, 30 years, you'll probably be Realtor of the Year 1 year. Maybe, right? Maybe. But twice? That's like Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl, right? Speaking of Michigan. So here's the thing Tom Brady won 7. That's not even as big an accomplishment as being Realtor of the Year twice. I'm just saying, they had to think it was like your son, or they had to think it was a brother, or it's how do you, you're the only one I've ever heard of that actually won Realtor of the Year twice. I have to tell you, I love that. He was the president of LCAR, Our Detroit, and Business Real Estate All-Star. And I'll tell you, he was interviewed as a Star Power Star in 2008, and that's how I met Todd Buckley, was through Howard Brinton and the Star Power Star organization. God bless him. Todd and his wife, Natalie, have 3 sons. He is a graduate of Michigan State University. He's a Spartan. Outside of real estate, Todd enjoys spending time with his family and friends, leading Boy Scouts, cheering for MSU athletics, traveling, camping, hiking, running, and skiing. And I want all of you to welcome to Referrals Podcast our guest today, Mr. Todd Buckley. Welcome.
Hey, Michael, thanks for having me today. It's a real pleasure, and congratulations on your success with everything you're doing.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that a ton. But this is so long overdue. We should have had you on so many. It's how did we go 2 years or 2.5 years, whatever it's been, without and having you come on and talk about your spark? I honestly have no idea how this has happened. It's just one of those where it does, right?
Well,
So
it's an honor. So thank you. And yeah, we've known each other for about 15 years, and Howard Brinton, he was a blessing to a lot of us, and he put a lot of us in touch. So good to be with you.
that's what I love, right? That's what I love about the Referrals podcast is that take this how it is, but sometimes, I'll speak and I'll say, my mentors, my dad, and then I'll say, Howard Brinton. How many of you know Howard Brinton? And it's like, 10 years ago, like 80% of the room would raise their hand. Now it's like 10% of the people raise their hand, just how it is, right?
Right.
The beauty of this is that we get to extend his legacy, right? We get to extend his influence to everybody else. And, we help a lot of other people to get out of judgment and into curiosity. And along with, love, right? That guy was all about love and loving his people. And sometimes it was tough love and sometimes it was just love. But it's one of those where, thank God he put that organization together because of the people that I got introduced to and the relationships I've gotten to build because of the star power and Howard Brinton,
Amen. Amen, brother.
So, I think first and foremost is give us a little bit of a background on, how did you get into real estate in the first place? And like what year was it and how did that happen?
Yeah, so I got into real estate in 1997, which I was newly married, newly out of college, and deciding not to pursue the career that I had gone to school with.
What did you go to school for?
Golf course planning.
Okay.
And construction, which I did that for a little bit. It was going to require a little bit too much travel for a newlywed. So my wife was in the construction business, she's in construction management, and she suggested I look into new construction sales. That didn't really work out for me because quite frankly, no one would hire me because I was pretty young. So got into, I talked to a lot of brokerages and here in Brighton, Michigan area, area I grew up. And so that's the area where we came back after college. And so I've been doing this for 24 years now.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so I'm guessing, first, 6-7 years took you right up to 2006. Great market nationwide. 2007, 8, 9, 10 hits. How did you respond to that time? Right? Was it as bad in Brighton as it was the rest of the country?
Well, it was probably worse
in
Brighton than it was. We have, we're in Southeast Michigan. We were hit hard by automotive. And so we were more than half of our sales during a few of those years were short sales. Mm-hmm. So just learning how to do something that we had never done before. And it was a necessity. And thankfully, quite frankly, there were a couple people on my team that did it that I didn't. My retired business partner and my wife were kind of headed up that short sale department. So we were doing over half of our sales from short sales, but it's what we needed to do.
Did you get into REOs right after that too?
We actually didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we got our foot in the door. We realized, quite frankly, that it just wasn't us.
Yeah.
It wasn't. We liked the people too much.
Yeah. Well, the short sales were big referral, right? I mean, I had to learn short sales because the people that had either bought before or I was getting referred to, they were all short on the house. So we had to learn. I mean, and I'm telling you, some of the most tearful conversations I've had in my life were 2008, 9, and 10 in Kansas City, right? I mean, just like they're so under in their house. It's like, what can we do? So short sales became a part of the deal, whereas REOs is a little more corporate. Right? A little more, less people oriented. And then, all right, 2012, we're coming out of it, right? So 13, 14, all the way up to 2020, you're doing business as normal. Is that right? Building the production, building the team, that kind of thing.
Yeah. We've had a great team. A lot of people have been on the team for a number of years now. We have one that's been on a team for 10, 11. So, and our numbers fluctuate. We've had more, we've had less, and we're kind of right sized right now for this market. And we're just, thankfully we are a smaller team. We're an independent brokerage. We can be nimble. And I think that was important in 2008. It certainly is important in this market as well.
Yeah, 100%, and service oriented,
Oh,
right?
sure.
So what approximately, if you don't have the exact number, but what percentage of your business is repeat and referral?
It's around 75.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So good 3/4 of your business, 3 out of every 4 transactions essentially are coming from repeat and referral, and it has a lot to do with your awesome customer service program. And here's what I love is I kind of get the gist of Spark, but I don't know everything about Spark, and I cannot wait for you to explain your Spark program to our listeners, because this isn't something that's just real estate related. This could be done by Chick-fil-A. This could be done by a car dealership. This could be done by a dentist. This could be literally done by anyone. And I love the whole concept about it. So I think first and foremost is what is the Spark concept? What are we doing with Spark? What is Spark?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, pretty much everything that we do, we stole and modified from someone else much smarter than us. And so this concept, it was a little bit different than this, but it was something that one of my business coaches, Terry Brown, had given us, and we just tweaked it for us. So SPARK is an acronym for Special Personal Activity, Recreation, or Knowledge.
Okay.
That's what it's for. So, and if you think about this, your spark, it's something that you get excited about. In Michigan, people put stickers on the back of their car, and we say, if you put a sticker on the back of your car, it's probably something that you get excited about, something that you feel passionate about. And so, our goal is to understand some of our top clients, the things that are important to them, and to be on the lookout on a daily basis for something that would relate to them. And it gives us a reason to be in touch with them. Like, it could be a type of dog. It could be mountain biking. It could be the new Ford Bronco. It could be like for you, Michael, I think I know a couple of your sparks. I would say that, that we would be talk. If I saw something Kansas City Chiefs or maybe even Mahomes related, I would talk to you about that. Or I'd reach out to you and, hey, I saw what's happening with Jayhawks basketball. Or even a little more personal, to be talking about high level travel baseball as it relates to Max and those types of things. So
let's just quit talking about whatever we're going to talk about and talk about those things, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the passion and that's the spark. And so I think one thing I want to reinforce before we dive deeper into kind of the manifestation of this is that, first of all, your eyes are open to what really interests people and where their desires lie, right? And it's the clients, right? This is your clients, and you're not just like, you're not playing this. Like, this is serious. Like, this is awesome. Like, we're going to find out what really makes them tick. And very rarely is it like a lot of times what we think it might be, right? It's very much something, golf or hiking or running or dogs. Like, they love their dogs. I mean, they're more likely to talk about their dog than they are to talk about their work. Right. That's a true story. Mm-hmm. So why are we talking about their work? When maybe we should be talking about their dog, or at least having that as part of the conversation, right?
And it could be temporary items as well. It could be that there's a wedding coming up. They're having a baby. They're they're having a trip. They're traveling to Maui in June. Hey, I saw this. I know you're heading to Maui. Thinking of you. Those types of things as well can be temporary.
Yeah, and that one thing. I mean, just imagine that you're a client of Todd's and you're getting ready to go to Maui and you didn't even know he knew, but you get this article about 10 things you must do in Maui. And you're like, I didn't even know he knew. Like, I mean, what's our thought about Todd? Like, it's like, Todd's awesome. Oh my God, Todd's in real estate. Oh my gosh, that's cool. Like, here's the other thing though, is Todd cares. Todd listens. Todd knows. And Todd's thinking about me when we're not in the same room, which is really cool. But it's how much did that cost Todd? It cost him zero and a little bit of time and a little bit of care and some documentation, which we'll talk about in a second. But I want to repeat what the SPARK acronym stands for. It's special, personal, or personal activity, recreation, or knowledge. So this is something that is truly their best interest, their most interested things in special, personal activity, recreation, or knowledge, a special knowledge that they have. And, I'm going straight from Todd's document here is, their spark might be a lifetime interest or a short term, like a trip, that they're going to be doing here pretty quickly. So, the first thing is let's give them some examples, right? So let's give them some examples of those different sparks other than mine. Yeah. In general, what are some things that you're looking for, right?
Well, easy ones are, is guys and our sports. So that's a low hanging fruit. Right. But the closer that you get to your client and the better the client they are, you might realize that, for instance, we have a friend that is into the Washington Nationals. Okay. And his spark isn't necessarily the Washington Nationals. It's attending Washington Nationals games, right? But that's actually not a spark. It's actually attending Washington Nationals games with his friends and clients.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So there, it can be pretty deep depending on how well you know someone. So that's really.
Here's what's really funny is I know exactly who you're talking about. Right?
Exactly.
Or at least I think I know. And that's unique to him, right. And the beauty of that is when you tap into this unintentional niche of their life, like they don't even know it's a niche, but we know it's a niche about them. And there's a billion things you can do from that. 4 t-shirts that match, right, would be kind of cool because they could go to the game with their matching shirts or whatever it may be. So I love that. And I'm gonna name some more from your sheet if that's okay with mountain biking and hiking and mountain climbing, right? Those, when somebody's a mountain climber, like for a long part of my life, I was a mountain climber. Right. And I there's something to it there. You're either passionate about mountain climbing or you don't do it at all. That's basically how it works. The same thing with rock climbing, right? If somebody's a rock climber, that's like a whole like a mindset. Dogs, of course, we talked about. Cats, we talked about, even though I think in cats kind of deal is you should send stuff to the cats because the cats own their owners versus, where dog owners own the dogs. Yeah. So cooking, baking, specific diets, keto, people that are on keto, food, restaurant, camping, specific charity, spirituality or faith, kids upcoming college, business, in-home business, small business, movies. People get crazy with movies. Same guy we're talking about is a huge movie buff, James Nellis, you just got to shout out. We got to throw it out there, right? It's too easy. It's like low-hanging fruit. Cars, Corvettes, cars. Come on now, right? People are their cars. Love that. A newborn child or a wedding or life happening, that kind of thing. All of those are sparks, right? And the first and foremost thing that I love about it is Todd, you're teaching an awareness. You have an awareness about your clients. Now, the first thing that I have to ask is it all your clients? Is it a top 5? Is it a top 50? Is it a top 150? And then what I have to go into the organization of it all, right? You can't just do this on a whim. It's pretty hard to do this spontaneously. So what? So is it a select? Is it a VIP group?
Yeah. So, we have a fantastic database of clients, but we do focus on our top 5, our top 50 each person. We'll focus on those people. And we do make notes. This doesn't come easy. You have to be intentional about it. And being a D personality, it doesn't really, it takes a little effort for me, to do that. So, and I'm always
takes effort for everybody. I think everybody should know that, some people are like, well, that's just natural for them. They're an I or an that. No, this is intentional. This is purposeful. This is going to take some work. But I think the thing that Todd and I are both telling you is that it's worth it. This is work that's worth it. And not only that, it's pretty fun too. you know?
It is. Yeah.
So,
And this isn't just me. It's, the whole team has really bought into it. And they, it's, you're specifically catering something to that person. It could be a pop-by gift that really affects them. It could be as simple as, just recently we're old school. We have a local newspaper here. One of my top 50's son was on the sports page. I texted him, dropped the paper in his mailbox and just said, really proud of Jacob and the year he had. So
that's a pop by I can wrap my head around, right? You dropping off ketchup and mustard on July 4th doesn't have the same effect as dropping off an article about my son in my mailbox or in my front door. That's the pop by of the year, dude. That's awesome. I love that. And so how'd you feel when you delivered the newspaper?
Oh, I mean, it feels great. And I think that, like you said, we oftentimes struggle with giving something of value. And I am just not wired to I'm not the cold call guy. I'm just not. And could I do it? Absolutely. But it's not something that we felt like we want to build our business around. So this is just more fun, quite frankly. It's more fun to find something that gets people excited.
So I think, so why do it? Right? So why should somebody implement their own Spark program, in your opinion? Why do you do it? Like what's the reasoning, do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, this goes back to, to your book, which, by the way, I had a beautiful first edition hard copy that you had signed for me. And I think one of my agents had, so I had to get this one as I'm rereading it. But no,
I would try to find that first copy. I'm just saying. I know. It's the black one with the silver on it.
The black one with the silver with a nice note in there that Michael had. But anyway, so it's just relating to those people on their level, and it's fun. And if you give, you get. And a big part of one of our core values is having fun on our team, and this really is fun. It makes people smile. And boy, we talked about, I want to mention Howard once again, because Howard Brinton's told us that, real estate isn't your life. It should fund your life. Right. And we really feel strongly about that. And just, that it is fun to find these things for people.
Yeah. And here's the thing, right? It's really fun to deliver the paper with their son's name in it. They find it, react to it. They love it. Here's what's interesting about that. They may not have even known. You might be the one that told them. I've done that with Google alerts and people being mentioned in articles. They're like, I didn't even know I was going to be mentioned in that article. And you're the one that actually made it happen. And now they have a copy of it for their scrapbook or, whatever it makes, to show their friends at work, because they're going to do that.
Yeah.
So,
and technically we actually get 4 copies, hard copies of this paper delivered to our office just for these reasons, to be able to share these things. I know it's old school and they've probably seen the online version, but there's something to be said about giving them something like that.
Maybe, right? Maybe they saw it. Maybe people are busy. It is amazing. Some people are looking for it and some people aren't. And I love that. I think the big thing is that one of the biggest things that I see, like why do this, is it's fun. It feels good. It feels good for the other people, right? And then, but here's also the thing is our business, especially in the referrals world, is, they say it's about numbers game, and it's not really about numbers, right? It's about people. And if you're thinking, all right, numbers, people, that's conversations, right? If you want to be successful in sales, it's the number of conversations you have. Now, I'm going to take it even further. It's not just the number of conversations you have, it's the number of positive conversations you have. How many times do you make other people feel awesome on a daily basis? The more times you make people feel awesome on a daily basis, the more referrals you will get. right? Now there is conversations, negative conversations, badgering, dominating, distracting, interrupting conversations. Now, right, that can work too, but it's longer and it sucks the life out of you and the people that you're talking to. Positive conversations. Isn't that what you're doing here, Todd? Is you're just kind of like, I need an excuse to have a positive conversation. Is that what we're doing here?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just you don't want to feel, you're not pushing real estate on them, and that's what I do for a living. But it's making connections. It's just connecting with people on their level, and then eventually business will come from it as a result of it. And I may not in that instance, I may not be giving a referral, and we certainly give referrals to a lot of our clients as well. But in that case, it was just I was thinking of you.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is that they know what you do, they know your real estate, but I really, as we boil it down, like you're the best friend any of your clients have ever had. Like even their best friends are not clipping articles and putting it in their door. Even their best friends are not sending them information about Maui before they go to Maui. Like this is really about like what is the best friend what would the best friend in the world do? And then do that. And what we've discovered about being the best friend forever and the best friend ever is that it doesn't cost any money to be the best friend ever. I mean, it didn't cost you now whatever the paper is, right?
Not much.
And not much. And then the article about Maui, right? It's free. It's on the internet. It took a few minutes of thought, which time is money, we know. But, all of that led to a positive conversation, which they know you're in real estate. So when you're the best friend ever, when it comes to real estate, they're going to remember their best friend ever. And that's where the 2 and 2 connects and becomes 22 instead of just 4. So,
and to your point, you can't do this for 1,000 people.
That's right.
It's very difficult to do. So we, start with 5, then take it to 10. And then, and we do put, with our CRM, we'll put a tag on that person as well, just so that we can do a quick search. If we have multiple people that are, if it's easy one, if we have Jayhawks fans, we might hit Michael and someone else, but we wouldn't tell Michael that we're hitting someone else about that.
That's right. That's right. So, so let's go through the Spark system a little bit, just a little bit more in detail. Okay. We've talked about why we're going to do it. We've talked about kind of how it works. Now, everybody has to be curious about the documentation of it, but I want everybody to know what you said about 5. That's your call to action from this podcast is I want you to spark 5. I want you to note 5 people in your life who your top clients, top referral sources, whatever they may be, and you're going to document and follow the system for those 5 people. Just pick 5, right, Todd? Just pick 5, yep. and that's manageable. I can remember it. I can deal with that. When I think of 5,000, I can't deal with it mentally, right? So I love it. So how are we going to go through this? What are kind of the 4 steps of the Spark system?
Yeah. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to observe and try to figure out what brings them joy. And as I mentioned, a good, you see a sticker on their car. If we're going on a listing appointment, you're looking for things that they've hung on their walls or that they've put out there for the public to see. And then obviously, online, you can look at groups that they belong to on Facebook or, actually even things that might sound like a negative, like, no, I can't meet you at an appointment next Tuesday. I have my son's track meet to go to. So well, tell me about your son's track meet. Well, what distance does he run? What does he do? So those are just questions that you would ask and to get a better feeling on what are multiple sparks. Hopefully you're gonna know a few for people.
I love it. I love the awareness of that, right? Instead of looking into your internal thoughts and worrying about yourself and whatever that may look like, right? You're looking for what is really interesting in their world. I love it. The awareness alone is a big step for people. So I love that.
Yeah. So then, you make a note of what they, their sparks, we put a tag in, and then you truly have to be deliberate about it. Now, this is the hardest part. And this is the hardest part for me. It's blocking time. It's looking at things, but I'll tell you, there's amazing team members. And just yesterday, one of my team members said, "Hey, I saw this. I think this is one of our clients. Can you confirm? I want to get, can you reach out to them?" So one of our awesome team members found something yesterday.
I love that. I mean, there's an upper level of awareness, it's kind of like how to wow, it's like everybody's kind of on the, like, hey, let's wow this person today. And I love that you're tagging in your CRM. So you're documenting this somewhere that this person likes this subject, right?
Right. Exactly.
And then are you blocking the time to be deliberate, or like, let's say Michael Maher's in your database, right? And like we have a be deliberate as part of the system. What's that look like? Like, is that accidental? Is it systematized? Like, what do you think? Now, I know a lot of, go ahead.
It's both. Both. So you're going to just see something, Michael, you're going to post something about, a recent baseball tournament or an upcoming baseball tournament that you're going to. And you said, you know what, I was at a tournament there. Let me find something here. I'm going to share it with Michael. So it just might be time that you spend online. It might be, we do also take time, typically before events that we do, where we'll just block those times, and because we know we're going to be calling people and making sure that, is there anything, we want to make sure we're connecting with people. So it's going to be both.
Love that. So, and I have to put this out to everybody. Todd doesn't even know this yet, but we're bringing Todd back. We are going to bring Todd back to talk about his community involvement and community events, because they will blow you away. I cannot wait to share those. Those will be in a future podcast. I really wanted to focus on Spark today because I want you to put this into play, because this is what he has into play. And then when he calls to invite people to events, as you know, that's a big part of the 7L system. He's got his antenna up about what else might come up in the conversation, with some knowledge, with some, it's just one of those where it eases the conversation, so to speak. So I love that you're blocking the time out to do a little research before you do the calls to invite them to the events. So love that, right? You put their name in the actual time block. Is that how you do that?
Yes, you would do that. Or you could just, your top 5, your top 50, something like that you're going to be doing. Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So the 4 steps, I just want to repeat them so everybody gets. So the first step is to have an awareness around it. Observe and inquire about the things that they love and have joy around. The second is to document it, which I think has to be done, right? It's one of those things that I think everybody needs to make sure that you've got this in an Excel sheet, Word document. It could be a note on your phone in their contact, literally, however you want to do that. And then be deliberate, block off the time, or like you've only got 5 in your head. You're not going to have 100 Spartan fans, listed out. It's going to be out of those 5, you probably won't have any Spartan fans. I just want you to know. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But, it's one of those where, out of the 5 people, they're going to love, let's say it's the Chiefs, the Vikings, the Packers, the Falcons, and the Patriots, right?
Not
whatever,
the
maybe
Lions.
It's 5,
Not the Lions.
right? Yeah. So not the Lions, right? So, or they hate the Lions, and anytime something bad happens to the Lions, then you reach out and say, isn't it great the Falcons got blown out 49-0 the other day? I'm just kidding, but it could be. So it is one of those where, you're going to be able to actually remember these because there's only 5. You're reading an article on ESPN about high school football in Georgia, and one of your friends happens to be a coach in high school football in Georgia. Mm-hmm. It's going to come to, you know what? I need to send this article over and say, hey, what do you think about this? And that's how it works. When there's 5, you can remember it. When there's 5,000, you can't. So I love this. So on my sheet, I have essentially what I think is the thing that you gave to your agents for them to do homework. right?
Is.
And I want to give all of the listeners and viewers of Referrals Podcast the same homework. So can we do that?
Sure.
Let's give them that homework. All right. So what's the homework for the next Referrals Podcast?
So it's identify and document sparks for your top 5.
Okay.
And then find a reference for their sparks, and so do some research, and then reach out to those 5 people. And then for us, it was give a 1-minute summary at our next meeting about our next Zoom meeting, how that went. So it would be, for just share that with someone else within their office or their family, friends, of how that went.
Oh, I'm going to take this. I'm going to give them more accountability than that, because our group is on fire. So here's the thing. Number 1 that Todd said is identify and document sparks for your top 5. So you got to write down your top 5, and then what are their interests, and check social media, check Facebook, check whatever. And maybe you already know some of them, write those down, and then find a reference to their sparks. What does that mean? Does that mean like do an internet search or do, okay.
Find an example, find something you think would be of value to them.
Okay. And then you're going to reach out to those 5 people, and maybe the trigger is the spark, right? Whatever it may be. Hey, I noticed that you have a Jack Russell Terrier. I just read an interesting article on Jack Russell Terriers. Now, the reason you read the really interesting article on Jack Russell Terriers is because they like terriers. But you're going to say, did you know this and this? And they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Well, let me send you the article, right? Something like that. Here's your accountability Referrals Podcast, people. You're going to go to join. Are you listening? Are you really listening to Referrals Podcast? Listen, this podcast exists for you to make behavior change. For you to get referrals, you will need to change your behavior. You're going to need to do things like this. Here's how I know you're doing it. You're going to go to joingengen.com. You're going to join the Generosity Generation. It is free, but it is also filtered. So if you're a jerk, you're not going to be able to get in. But there's a couple of questions that you have to answer. When you come in, your first post, you want to impress me, you want to impress Todd, you want to impress the Generosity Generation, and you do because they refer a lot. In your post, you're going to put, here's what I did with the Spark Top 5. And you're just going to share a 1-minute summary or a paragraph about how your phone calls went, or your emails, your reach out, your Spark reach out. And I want you to share that. I want you to tag Michael Maher, and I want you to tag Todd Buckley in that post. And you know what? You might be on a future episode of Referrals Podcast, which will lead to more referrals. So I love it. I love this whole Spark. Todd, this is great stuff, man. This is I think it's one of those things that it's something we want to do, that people want to do, but they didn't know many people to do it with. They didn't really know how to go about it. And now there's this great system that is very easy, very simple. And what I don't want people to do is underestimate the power of Spark. They're going to say, oh, this is kind of fun and stuff, but it won't get you anything. Is that true, Todd, or not? Is it true that maybe you can get a referral?
It's simple, yet it's hard. And it does work. And I, again, this might come from my own insecurities. I really like to talk to people about something. I don't want to call them up and say, do you have a referral for me?
Jeez. Yeah.
I'm not that guy.
Which is why you're getting referrals, right? I mean, and it's, I think the biggest thing too is that even if it is contrived, let's say you don't give a crap about Jack Russell Terriers because you're just a jerk. I'm just kidding. Let's say, you don't have any clue about Jack Russell Terriers. You do a quick search, you make the call. Here's the thing. The people on the other end don't care. As soon as you mention Jack Russell Terrier, they're going to think of their dog, they're going to think of love, and they're going to love the conversation. And you know what? That's what it's about. It's not about what you love. It's not. It's about what they love. And here's what you're going to find by implementing Spark. You're going to find that you love talking to people about what they love. That's what you're going to find. And that's the beauty of all this.
Makes for easy conversations.
It does. Todd, I'm telling you, the time flew by. We are at the end of our time here, but I have to tell you that this is a game changer for those who are willing to implement it. Share it on joingengen.com. Share with us what you did. Give us a summary of how those 5 phone calls went just by finding some trigger on social media and the internet and having those positive conversations. Don't ask for a referral. I want you to just have the conversation, but be ready, because they're going to say, Todd, how's business? Todd, how's the market? Todd, I hear real estate's hot right now. How's everything going? You know what? Because they don't know how to respond. So they're going to ask with the only thing that they have, which is how's business, how's the market, or, here's what I've heard about the market. What do you have to say? So be ready with your answer to that question. Do you have a typical answer for that, Todd? Or is there, what do you say when they say how's business or how's the market or Todd, how's it going in your world? Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the answer is it's complicated, but exciting. And so that's the
truth.
Yeah. That's usually what I try to figure out if they're really curious about that. So.
Yeah, and I love that, right? You do a little test the waters remark back to just see how much they do care, right? I love that. And I'm telling you, the Spark program is so simple yet powerful, something that anybody can implement, no matter, we have personal trainers listening to this. Your top 5 clients, you should have it. And it could be health and physical fitness related stuff, but don't just stop there. Get into their other interests and hobbies and things that they love to do. But this could be applicable to anybody, any profession. And I encourage all of you who are listening to this to put this program into play with 5 people. 5 people, put a little time block in your schedule on a monthly basis that just says, check out Todd's stuff, check out Michael's stuff, check out your 3rd, 4th, and 5th person stuff. And then reach out with a phone call or an email or a text message about what you discovered and just see where it goes. It doesn't cost you anything to implement this, and yet the results could be a referral or 55 or 180. Who knows, right? Todd, how does somebody reach out to you to refer you in Brighton if they have a referral for your area?
Email address is todd@buckleyjolly.com, BUCKLEYJOLLEY, same as the website. Social media, office number is 810-229-7000.
I love it. I'm telling you, one of the most referable guys I know, and you're seeing why as well today as he shows you how to wow, how to make people feel awesome instead of having them feel awkward around a salesperson is a type of art in itself, and there's a beauty to it. And this is beautiful business. And Todd, I just want to say thank you so much for being our guest today on Referrals Podcast.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much. And it's an honor.
Way overdue. Should have had you on a long time ago. And I'm telling you, this is a great nugget. And I have to, so Sherry is behind the scene right here, giving me the one more, right? Say hi to Todd. And then she keeps pointing at this question. It says, tell me about a motto that your friend shared with you years ago and how do you implement it? So yes. I don't know what that's all about, but okay. She's very interested in making sure it's in today's episode, aren't you? Yes, she is. Okay, yeah. She loves you, by the way. My wife loves you.
Hello, Sherry.
She's such a Todd Buckley fan. It's not even funny. So,
well,
Chip Collins, Brad Korn, James Nellis. It's like she has her favorites, right? She probably didn't want me to say that, but it's the truth. So
that's a nice group of guys. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one of the things that really has stuck with me over the years is I heard a motto once, and it was we're not number one, you are. And it was a realtor that I knew about 15 years ago, and his motto was that because he wanted, we live in a time of egocentric marketing. And I thought that was fantastic because we were hearing, put yourself out there, put yourself first, tell everyone you're number one so that they want to use you. But ultimately what I found is that the people that I really want to work with don't gravitate towards someone who says that they're number one and that they're really, and it's not those people that I'm looking to work with. It's the people that I can connect with on a more personal level, and give them the kind of service that they want. And I want them to be number one. And that person is Michael Maher. So
wow.
Yes. So
wow.
that's true story. It's always stuck with me. And although we don't obviously use that exact tagline, it's something that we talk about in-house, and it's really important to in this time when everything is very, very ego driven. It's in my opinion, it's not what it's all about.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And I did not know that until just now. So we're not number one, you are, right? I mean, remember, with the Maher team, we're not number one, you
That's
are.
Right.
It's just like we are a team of professionals delivering the ultimate client experience in the world, providing amazing care so that we create and nurture ambassadors who speak highly of us and refer us willingly. Remember, with the Maher team, we're not number one, you are. That's
Exactly.
that's a old. I mean, that's been a long time ago we had that, but it also applies to everything that we're talking about today. You know, Referrals Podcast, we're not number one, you are, right? The listener is, the client is, the person who, I mean, we always keep in mind who really is number one, and the client is number one. It really is. You know, Absolutely. The client, they do say like the client is always right. I'm not sure that's always true, but the client is always number one, you know, and that's who we have to please. And that's who we have to make sure that, you know, feels awesome. You know, if we're making our clients feel awkward to get a sale, then that's a very short-sighted type of plan. If we can make people feel awesome and treat them like they're number one, then they'll come back over and over again. And I mean, how often do you go in a room that doesn't make you feel good? The answer is never, right? It's the same way. If you're in the room that people don't feel comfortable in, they're not going to go into the room. They're not going to work with you anymore. And I'm telling you, I have people in my life who don't get my referrals because they make the referral feel awkward, you know, by either, you know, a closing technique that they use or a way they overcome objections. But then there's these people like Todd Buckley in the world who, when we send somebody their way, I just sent 2 referrals in the last week to Brett Ellis in Fort Myers, right? And it's like, here's what I know. They're going to feel awesome working with Brett Ellis. And I know that when I send people to you, they're going to feel awesome. They're going to feel better, and they're going to be more knowledgeable, and they're going to be more fulfilled because they, you know, it's a blessing to have Todd Buckley in your life. Think about that. You know, be a blessing in their lives. And you know, that's the core of we're not number one, you are. So I love that. I love that. And I love you, dude. And I appreciate you.
I love you too, man.
Thanks for being on and delivering pearl after pearl and nugget after nugget. And ladies and gentlemen, I so appreciate you and you're listening today. Thank you so much for being on this episode of Referrals Podcast with us and enjoying our conversation today. And here's the other thing is, if you haven't checked out joingengen.com, check it out. The other thing is, you're cordially invited to go through a book club of 7L with me. I'm going to take you through page by page as we go through 7L. I'm going to disclose secrets and give you some nuggets that are in 7L that even my wife doesn't know. So we're going to have some fun. 7lbookclub.com. Ladies and gentlemen, Referrals Podcast episode. This is such a good episode. Please share it, review it, let people know about it. And then here's the deal. I promise you, I'll see you on the next episode of Referrals Podcast. Thanks, everybody.